Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, of course, you saw the title. We're going to be checking out King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard's newly released album, Flight B741. Now, I myself am quite a big King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard fan. I have been for years. I've been around since before they even hit album 15, which for any artist would sound insane. However, this album here is already album 26 in their cycle, with no signs of letting up. And with each release, they seem to be delving into a different genre, especially in the last 10 albums or so. They've really been exploring different sounds. However, this one is a bit of a return to form, going back to the roots of Fishing for Fishies from 2019 and continuing the ideas on there with the blues rock genre. However, this one does seem to be exploring a bit more of an electric blues sound, and I am certainly interested in that, considering some of the electric moments they touch on upon Fishing for Fishies was some of my favorite moments on that record. Without further ado, let's jump into this record. 10 tracks, 43 minutes, a pretty standard length, especially for King Gizzard, and they have released 3 singles. However, I've only heard 2 of them, those being Hog Calling Contest and Risqué. So, kicking it off, let's jump into Mirage City. Oh, right off the bat, very rockish, super noisy. What an intro. Just a big splash of sound, really setting the stage. And there's that electric sound, those guitars. Has kind of like that vintage sort of 70s, 60s kind of bluesy sound to it too. It certainly feels like more of a throwback than this record was. Oh, passing the mic from Stu to Ambrose here. "26 albums in, and I just want to say this is the first record where every single 6 musicians here on the band, keep in mind, all 6 of them have vocal credits, including Cavs, the drummer, who has never sang on an album before, sings on Risqué. So, again, this is an album where they are continuing to push their sound, this time by letting every member sort of play different parts. I think that's Ambrose. That might be Stu. Just singing in a different inflection. Kind of like a nice country, kind of bluegrass sound to this one too. That's a nice passage. More references on climate change, a common theme in the King Gizzard discography. Really great throwback sound on this record. It's still going. Oh, I feel like we're being transported to the 70s here, maybe the 60s. Oh, that harmonica. Our man Ambrose Kenny Smith, great harmonica player. Man, really dense production on this one, like super dense. Just a lot of players at hand. And all the harmonies too on the vocals. Let's keep it going. Let's go right into Antarctica here. No letting up. Great first track. Super bluesy. Touch of bluegrass. This one's a bit more mellower, bit of a slower approach. Still very electric though, definitely a much more electric blues focus than that of Fishing for Fishies. Boogeyman Sam, a highlight on that record. Is that Celsius Fahrenheit? That's what I would assume, yeah. Really? Gentle piano on the right side there. I really like that piano work. Another song about global warming. Again, common trope is climate change in their discography. I love the melodies over this record. Just like great sense of rhythm. And also just a very fun record so far. Oh. There's that. Ooh. And it all comes together. Ooh. Oh. This one's really, feels like it's constantly evolved and changed, and now it's just like kind of blooming out in this outro. The way it all collectively is coming together. Has some nice quiet moments of stripping things back before kind of splashing into things again. Great track. I'll give that a quick pause. Again, super fun record. Just the energy on this record feels very infectious. Let's go into raw feel. Let's see if they keep it going. Again, I love the throwback sound too all over this record. Joey singing on this one. Such an electrifying record. Like, you can hear like the constant energy in those guitars. Feels like it constantly never lets up. Even in the quieter moments, it's still there. This is a track about kind of embracing your instinctual feelings, your initial sort of reaction. Oh. Such a nasty sound to it. Kind of like feeling things as one, as a unison. Really like Stu's passage there, how whenever he comes in, it feels so much more focused. Such a unison kind of a concept to this one. It's like a pure love energy in the air. I love that percussion too. Calves just rattling off, and like again, everyone feels so collectively whole. Really, everything here feels like such a massive kind of wall of sound at times, the way everything comes together. Let's go into Field of Vision. This was the third single released just before the album came out. I have not heard this one. Kind of a heavier sound to this one. Bit more of a thumping drive. I feel like this is the most they've focused on guitars in their albums in quite some time, really. Ooh. Nice stripped back moments. There's a woo. Been a minute since we've heard a nice King Gizzard woo. I love the trading off of vocals on this album too. Again, this feels such like a collective album of all of them. Ooh. The guitar. I'm not sure who's playing this solo. They're really taking it away in this passage. Oh, right back in that chorus. I love this track so far. Certainly one of my favorites. Being a silly Billy. That's a King Gizzard lyric, if I've ever heard one. Lighthearted, quite silly, literally in this sense. I feel like with the country vibe of this record, a silly Billy, you know, that's the kind of fun vibe they're bringing here. Let's keep going into Hog Calling Contest. Title drop. Such a massive kind of pummeling sound to the drums on this one. Oh, going whole hog, just like the cover suggests. Just a bunch of pigs on a flight. I love that chorus. It's so simple, but it's just a fun, again, can't stress it enough, super fun sound to this record. And the lyrics and Ambrose, the Here Piggy Piggy, only reflects that fun, lighthearted energy. Probably the first time we've seen woo kind of worked into a lyric. Using lots of idioms here throughout. I love this track. Initially, when I first heard it as a single, wasn't as big of a fan of it. It kind of came in one ear, went out the other. Kind of forgot about it pretty quick after I first heard it. But I feel like in the context of this album as like an interlude, it's fantastic. It just has like a nice pummeling energy to kind of carry on this midsection. Fantastic track. Let's just go right into the Risqué. Super clean start, by the way. Just like a nice descent into its groove. And Joey kicking it off. Lots of personality in his delivery too, I gotta say, on this track. I mean, they all ooze personality in this track, to be honest. Definitely the best to release as a single. So initially catchy. Ready? Cav's evil laugh, kicking things off. His first vocal performance, by the way. He's got such a cool demeanor. Oh. I love Cav's sort of nonchalant, very just like chilled out delivery in that verse. Ready?
Okay, let's ride.
And here's Ambi. Cavs has such a nonchalant, chilled out delivery, which is contrasted perfectly by Ambi's just like in-your-face kind of explosive Hello Evil Knievel to follow it up. A good contrast in sound, really, and delivery. Like I said, all a very distinct personality for each vocalist here. Strips back. And we get Stu here. A clearing of a kind of smoke aura here. You can even hear his kind of vocals from the throat singing days on their heavy metal albums kind of coming in here. Like the raspiness, he's using those skills on a blues record. It really kicks up high too to close out the track. Incredible momentum of that track. Really picks up. Let's go into the title track, Flight B741. Oh, I like this kind of laid back approach. The harmonica here is fantastic. Oh, this is a different approach. Certainly much slower than anything on the record, I feel like. The piano work. Oh, whoever's on piano has been doing a great job throughout this record, even just being in the background. Really playful delivery from Stu. Kind of like a head nod back and forth. Oh, really spacey here. Man, I love that part. Kind of leaning into a bit of a kind of bubblegum pop sound in a sense. Getting kind of psychedelic as well. Love that harmonica. Let's go into Sad Pilot, which Sad Pilot was one of the first tracks from this album that they teased live. It got me very excited when I first heard it because they, again, delving into this sort of 70s kind of blues rock vibe, 60s sort of style. Very exciting as a longtime fan. We've all been there sometimes, Joey. Oh. Talk about letting go of the past, perhaps. This Sad Pilot just needs to kind of move on. Still very electric, but much more mellowed out, more laid back. A good kind of track to have sitting at a fire, late at night. Just for a good time. Really, like all three of them, the main singers of the band, coming together for a chorus. Again, not a common theme within their discography typically. It's nice to see. A good mantra to live by. Keep on winging it. There's always blue skies ahead. Kind of like George Harrison said, Kind of that call and response of blues, a common trope. Let's go right into Rats in the Sky. a much more kind of imminent sound to this one. Oh, really up tempo. I'd rather be amongst the clouds. Is this a track about kind of just being high on life, letting yourself sort of be swept away? Oh. I really like the cadence. And Stu here, once again, taking those isolated moments. Kind of like a doo-wop vocals in the background. Very unexpected twist there. And right into the final track here, Daily Blues. Nearly 8 minutes, the longest blues track they've done yet. And let's see where this 8-minute epic is gonna go. Oh, we're elevated. Constant references to planes and flight, obviously given the title of the album. It's nice to see that kind of consistent theme in the lyrics. Gets quieter here. It seems like we're gonna transition perhaps into the next segment of the track. Almost like a suite of sorts, or a medley. Oh. I love the production here. Again, a very nice kind of love-fueled album. Really good vibes. Oh. Like, it's such a beautiful concept to this song and this record. One of pure love. I love that kind of spiral sound to the harmonica that Ambrose is doing. Lots of really petty, kind of snide lyrics here. I like it. Oh my goodness. Like stomach bile. Really just like ripping in to this target here. Maybe not nearly as loving as they are trying to paint the picture of. Wow, we're already almost 5 minutes in. I find the pacing of this track has been absolutely fantastic. It does not feel like the length that it is. Oh. I like the way this is going, the direction it's going in here. Stripping back things quite a bit. That is factual. Oh, they're spitting some hard truths too. And this hate-fueled, love-fueled track. Oh. The high pitch of that electric guitar. I love that melody. Oh, that descent. Just like Always Blue, I guess. Maybe a continuation of that sad pilot. Oh, we're winding down here. Oh, frantic piano. Oh. The roundup here as we close out the album. Like a roll credits of sorts. Oh. And a playing effect and a horse. And that's it. That closes out the album. Just like that. Wow. What a swift, breezy listen that record as a whole was. Did not feel like 43 minutes. It felt much quicker than that. Daily Blues was wonderfully paced, I should say. Just felt like it is super swift in its delivery. It constantly evolved in its 8-minute runtime. And I really loved the message on that one. Really the message throughout the album as a whole, touching on themes of, climate change as we've come to expect from King Gizzard, but also love and hate, forgiveness, self-love, it would seem, perhaps, on Sad Pilot. Really just a lot of kind of like great messages and themes throughout that feel very infectious and kind of beautiful when wrapped up as a whole. This feels very much like a much grander, much more extended take on what they were doing with Fishing for Fishies, taking some of these more electric blues elements from that record and putting it much more in the forefront, as the electric guitar, especially throughout this album, is just like constantly in your ears. It never lets up. It feels like it is constantly vibrating to some extent, and just feels super energetic in its tone. Really love just the electric sort of guitar work throughout this record. Also really liked the piano work on this record, even in its more subtle moments in the background. Feels like it is playing a very, key component to the blues, traditional blues sort of sound that one can expect. Harmonica as well. Ambrose Kenny Smith has always been a fantastic harmonica player ever since their first couple of albums, such on their second record, Float Along, Fill Your Lungs. He was great there, and he's still just as fantastic with his harmonica on this record, sounding very wild, very free and uncontrolled, untethered from the rest of the sound. Perfectly matches and encapsulates the kind of idea of this record, which is just pure, untethered fun, because it feels like all band members here, all 6 of them, are just having some of the most fun they've ever had as a band collectively. Vocal-wise, they're all getting credits here. Instrumentally, they get very loud, very abrasive. They all come together quite collectively, but also at the same time feel like they are just kind of letting things flow out of their instruments quite freely. So with that being said, this is by far one of King Gizzard's most fun records yet. I would definitely say it is one of their more accessible records for those wanting to jump into King Gizzard. This seems like it is a pretty good entry point, since it is a little bit more of an accessible genre as well, while at the same time really showcasing their songwriting as well as their sort of just kind of unbridled creativity as a band. Not much more to say on this one. Certainly going to be one that I'm going to be listening to a lot more. No surprises considering I am a King Gizzard fan, but I did like this more than their last record, The Silver Cord, which I was not as big a fan of, admittedly. So it's nice to see them still 26 albums in, making records that are just as interesting and just as enjoyable as some of their earlier records. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to follow along and listening to more records, whether they be new or old. We cover as much as we can on this channel, and I of course will be covering a lot more King Gizzard in the future. So if you are a King Gizzard fan, go ahead and subscribe, because I guarantee every album release I will most definitely be reacting and listening to them, because they are, quite honestly, in my opinion, the best band working today and one of the greatest bands of all time, period. So go ahead and subscribe if you like King Gizzard, because I will be covering more of them on this channel, including some other stuff I would like to do involving their work maybe a tier list when they get to album 30, which at this rate might be in a year from now. As always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.